Okay, everyone, welcome back in. I'm now going to be reviewing all of Tuesday's action from the NHL. There are 11 games on tap, therefore 22 teams were dying to get 2 points, respectively. Starting with the two teams you see on your screen as the Anaheim Ducks were continuing their road trip, and they went into Montreal. So take a look and see how this game unfolded. So there's no scoring in the first. We have to jump ahead to the second period where Jake Evans would get the opening goal for Le Bleu, Blanc et Rouge, recording his third goal of the season, assisted by Peterson and Anderson. And that goal happened a minute and 43 seconds in that second period. Nick Suzuki would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 18th of the season from Slavkovsky and Struble, 9 minutes and 37 seconds into that period. And with exactly 3 minutes remaining in that period, Suzuki would get his second goal of the game, his 19th of the season, assisted by Slavkovsky and Alex Newhook. In the third period, Slavkovsky would add on to the lead, making it 4-0 with a power play goal, his 11th of the season from Suzuki and Caulfield. And Gignac, Gignac, would record his first goal and assisted by Gouli, and that happened with 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining in the frame. So 5-0 would be the final score in favor of Montreal. So with the win, the Habs are 22, 23, and 8. They're still 8 points out of a playoff spot, so it's looking very slim and bleak at this point, this late in the season. And for the Anaheim Ducks, they're currently sitting at 18, 32, and 2, and they are 20 points out of the playoff spot, so it's very clear they are going to be sellers once the trade deadline comes around. All right, we'll take a look at the next matchup, which took place in Boston. We have the Bruins, and they played host to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I will get those teams on the screen as we speak. Okay. So in the first period, Chernak would get his first goal of the season, 3 minutes and 21 seconds into the opening frame, assisted by Hagel and Cirelli. In the second period, Kucherov would increase the lead to 2-0, getting a power play goal, notching his 34th goal of the season. Charlie McAvoy would score less than a minute after that, cutting the deficit to 2-1, getting his 8th goal of the season from Marchand and Pasternak. With 3 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in that period, Van Riemsdyk would tie the game up, getting his 9th goal of the year, assisted by Marchand and Pasternak. There was no scoring in the third, no scoring in overtime, therefore we had to settle this in a shootout, where Brandon Point would get the game-winning goal. And with that, the Lightning would win 3-2. So with the victory, the Lightning are 29, 20, and 5, currently sitting third place in that Atlantic Division, while with the loss, the Bruins are still in first place of that same division with a record of 32, 11, and 10. Okay, the next matchup took place in Buffalo, where we had the Sabres playing host to the Los Angeles Kings. So I'll get those teams' logos up on the screen. Okay, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first period, Peterka would open up the scoring 4 minutes and 25 seconds into that opening frame, getting his 19th goal of the season from Greenway and Bryson. Greenway would get on the goal score sheet himself with 3 minutes and 2 seconds remaining, getting his 7th goal of the year, making it 2-0 in favor of Buffalo. With 35 seconds remaining in that same period, Okposo would get a power play goal, recording his 11th goal of the season from Cousins and Rasmus Dahlin. So after 20 minutes of play, it was 3-0 in favor of the Sabres. In the second period, Rasmus Dahlin would get on the goal score sheet himself, getting his 14th goal of the season from Johnson and Krebs, 6 minutes and 42 seconds in that period. And then with 5 minutes and 43 seconds remaining, Benson would increase the lead to 5-0, getting his 5th goal of the year from Bryson and Peterka. After 40 minutes of play, it was 5-0 in favor of the Sabres. In the third, Alex Tuch would increase the lead to 6-0, 4.5 minutes into that frame, his 15th goal of the season, and then 7 minutes and 50 seconds in that third period, Greenway would record his second goal of the game, his 8th of the year from Tuch and Middlestad. So a huge upset, to say the least, as the Sabres would defeat the Los Angeles Kings with a final score of 7-0. So with the victory, the Sabres are sitting at 23, 25, and 4 for 50 points, still 10 points behind the Red Wings for that wildcard spot, so it's looking very bleak for them to make a postseason run. Speaking of the postseason, even though the LA Kings lost, they still have a position in the wild card in the West with a record of 24, 16, and 10. All right. Next matchup after that took place in Ottawa, where we had the Blue Jackets playing host. Sorry, the Blue Jackets were the away team, and they're heading into Ottawa to take on the Senators. All right, let's take a look and see how this game went. So in the first period, Vornikov would open up the scoring for the Blue Jackets, recording his 13th goal of the year from Johnson and Marchenko. The captain, Brady Tkachuk, would get a power play goal roughly halfway in the period, 9 minutes and 48 seconds to be exact, getting his 23rd of the season from Norris and Claude Giroux. He would get his second goal of the game less than a minute after that, getting his 24th of the year, and then Claude Giroux would get a short-handed goal, assisted by Kelly. For Giroux, that would be his 17th goal of the season, and that goal happened with 5 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. So 3-1 in favor of Ottawa after 20 minutes of play. Riley Gregg would increase the lead to 4-1, 5 minutes and 37 seconds into that second period, his 9th of the season from Tarasenko and Pinto. Boone Jenner would cut the deficit in half, getting his 16th goal of the year from Gaudreau and Werenski. Roslovich would cut the deficit to 4-3 with 6 minutes and 6 seconds to go, his 3rd of the season from Gudbranson and Bean. Brady Tkachuk would get a natural hat trick, a power play goal with 3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in that second period, his 25th of the year from Giroux and Chabot. In the third period, Branson would score a very late goal in empty netter with just 8 seconds remaining, making it 6-3 in favor of the Senators. And that's where we would stand at the end of the game. So with the win, Ottawa is currently sitting 22, 25, and 2. They are in second last place in the Eastern Conference, so therefore the playoffs are pretty much out of reach at this point, being 14 points behind. And for the Blue Jackets, they're just 4 points behind the Senators for the last place in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 16, 26, and 10. All right. The next match took place in Toronto, where we had the Leafs playing host to the St. Louis Blues. All right. Let's see how this game went. So in the first, McMahon would open up the scoring for the Maple Leafs, 5 minutes and 33 seconds into that frame, getting his 3rd goal of the year, assisted by Gregor. William Nylander would score late in that period, 3 minutes and 35 seconds to be exact, getting his 26th goal of the season. So after 20 minutes of play, it was 2-0 in favor of the Leafs. Toropchenko would finally get the Blues on the board in the second period, getting his 9th goal of the season from Walker and Kessel, 5 minutes and 36 seconds into that frame. After 40 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of the Buds. In this third period, McMahon would record his 2nd goal of the game, his 4th of the season from TJ Brody and Sam Benoit, 8 minutes and 2 seconds into that frame. And then with just 1 minute and 39 seconds remaining, McMahon would get his first hat trick of his career, getting his 5th goal of the season from Giordano and David Camp. So 4-1 would be the final score in this one in favor of the Leafs. So with the win, Toronto is now currently sitting at the number 1 wildcard spot with a record of 27, 16, and 8. And with the loss, the St. Louis Blues, they're still in a wildcard spot. They have the number 2 wildcard spot, to be exact, with a record of 28, 22, and 2. Okay, so the next matchup that I'll be taking a look at took place in Washington, as we had the Capitals being the home team, and they took on the Colorado Avalanche. Okay. All right, teams are on the screen. Let's take a look and see how this game unfolds. So Ross Colton would kick things off for the Avalanche in the first period, getting his 11th goal of the year from Wood and Lehkonen. Devin Toews would increase the lead to 2-0, 4 minutes and 57 seconds in that period, his 9th of the season from Johansson and Cogliano. Malestein would get the Capitals on the board, getting his 5th goal of the year from Verhaeghe and Nick Dowd. McMichael would tie the game up exactly halfway in that period, getting his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Mantha. So after 20 minutes of play, each team had 2 goals apiece. Arturi Lehkonen would break the tie in the second period, 8 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact. His fourth of the year from Colton and Byram. Rantanen would get a late power play goal for the Avalanche, getting his 29th of the season from Lehkonen and McKinnon. And that goal happened in 2 minutes and 57 seconds to be exact. So after 40 minutes of play, it was 4-2 in favor of the Avalanche. In the third period, Ovechkin would notch his 14th goal of the season on a power play, 9 minutes exactly in that frame, assisted by Carlson and Mantha, cutting the deficit to 4-3. Arturi Lehkonen would increase the lead to 5-3, getting his fifth of the season from McKinnon and Rantanen, making it 5-3, which is 59 seconds left in that frame. And then Miles Wood would increase the lead to 6-3 with 33 seconds to be exact, his ninth of the season, assisted by Byram. So the Avalanche would double up on the Capitals. 6-3 would be the final score. So with the win, the Avalanche are currently sitting second in that Central Division with a record of 33-17-4. And with the loss, the Washington Capitals are now 6 points out of a playoff spot with a record of 23-21-8. All right. The next matchup took place on Long Island, where we had the Kraken, the away team, and they were visiting New York to take on the Islanders. All right, got the teams on the screen. Let's take a look and see how this one went. So in the first period, Matt Beniers would open up the scoring for the Seattle Kraken, getting his seventh goal of the season, assisted by McCann. 5 minutes and 27 seconds in that period. In the second frame, Palmieri would tie the game up, getting his 15th goal of the year from Barzal and Dobson. That would be a power play goal with 5 minutes and 23 seconds remaining. There's no scoring in the third. We would need overtime, but there was no scoring in overtime, so we had to settle this in a shootout where Thomas Tatar would get the game-winning goal for the Seattle Kraken. So 2-1 would be the final score in favor of Seattle. So with the victory, Seattle is now sitting at 22-21-10, just 4 points out of a playoff spot. And with the loss, the Islanders are 3 points out of a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference with a record of 22-18-13. All right. 4 more games to review from a busy Tuesday night. So the next matchup took place in Dallas. We had the Stars playing host to the Carolina Hurricanes. All right. Let's see how this game went. So in the first, Roope Hintz would kick things off for the Stars roughly halfway through that period. 9 minutes and 53 seconds to be exact, getting his 23rd of the season from Pavelski and Robertson. In the second period, Jordan Staal would tie the game up, getting his 7th goal of the season from Seth Jarvis and Jordan Martinook. And that goal happened just 13 seconds in that middle frame. Marchment would give the Stars a 2-1 lead, getting his 17th goal of the season, assisted by Sundqvist and Duchesne, 5 minutes and 4 seconds to be exact. And with 4 minutes and 44 seconds remaining, Jesper Fast would tie the game up at 2, getting his 6th goal of the season from Martinook and Jordan Staal. So after 40 minutes of play, there were 4 goals, 2 apiece for each squad. In the third period, Robertson would give the Stars a 3-2 lead, getting his 18th goal of the season from Pavelski and Hackpana. Matt Duchesne would double up the lead to 4-2, getting his 19th of the year from Hackpana, and that goal happened with 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining on the clock. So 4-2 would be the final score in favor of the Stars. So take a look and see where both these teams are sitting in the standings, respectively. So with the victory, the Stars are currently sitting in first place in that Central Division with a record of 33-14-6. And for the Hurricanes, despite the loss, they are sitting second in the Metropolitan Division with a record of 30-17-5. All right, the next matchup took place in Nashville, where we had the Predators, and they were playing host to the New Jersey Devils. All right, let's take a look and see how this one went. So in the first period, Ryan O'Reilly would kick things off for the Predators, getting a power play goal, notching his 19th goal of the season from Glass and Ryan Yossi. In the second, Jack Hughes would tie the game up just a minute and a half in that period, getting his 17th of the season, assisted by his brother Luke and Marino. Novak would give these Predators a 2-1 lead, 7 minutes and 1 second to be exact, getting his 10th of the season, assisted by Yossi and Glass. In the third period, Nico Hischier would tie the game up 2 minutes and 16 seconds into the frame, getting his 15th of the season from Jesper Bratt and Palat. Thomas Meyer would break the tie with 5 minutes and 16 seconds to be exact, his 10th of the season from Lazar and Mercer. Hischier would score his second goal of the game, his 16th of the season from Eric Holla, and that goal happened with 39 seconds to go in the game. So despite the fact that the Devils were down 2-1, they would get 3 straight goals, winning this one 4-2 over the Predators. So with the win, the New Jersey Devils are sitting just 2 points out of a playoff spot with a record of 27, 21, and 4. And with the loss, the Predators are also 2 points out of a playoff spot in the Western Conference with a record of 27, 24, and 2. Okay, there's just 2 more games left from Tuesday's schedule. So the next one took place in Chicago, where we had the Blackhawks playing host to the Vancouver Canucks. All right, let's take a look and see how this one went. So in the first, Connor Garland would kick things off for the Vancouver Canucks roughly halfway through that period, 9 minutes and 55 seconds remaining on the clock, getting his 10th of the season from Joshua and Hronek. In the second period, Garland would get his second goal of the game, giving the Canucks a 2-0 lead at this point. His 11th goal of the season from Hronek and Joshua, 8 minutes and 18 seconds to be exact in that frame. With 3 minutes and 17 seconds remaining, Tyler Johnson would finally get the Chicago Blackhawks on the board, getting his 10th goal of the season from Kurashev and Nick Foligno. Hoglander would increase the lead to 3-1 for the Canucks with 1 minute and 32 seconds to go, getting his 17th of the season, assisted by Elias Lindholm. In the third period, Joshua would increase the lead to 4-1, 6 minutes and 7 seconds to be exact, getting his 13th goal of the season from Bluegar and Quinn Hughes. Korinsky would cut the deficit in half to 4-2, getting his third goal of the season from Donato and Reichel, and that goal happened with 6 minutes and 33 seconds remaining, making it 4-2 for Vancouver. Unfortunately for the Blackhawks, they were not able to mount a comeback, so 4-2 would be the final score in this matchup. So with the victory, the Vancouver Canucks are sitting still in first place in that Pacific Division with a record of 36-12. Ooh, hold on. 36-12 and 6. And with the loss, the Chicago Blackhawks are sitting dead last in the Western Conference with a record of 14, 36, and 3. Okay, I believe there's just one last game to review, and that took place in Edmonton, where they played host to the Detroit Red Wings. So I'll get the teams on the screen. Oh, go down one. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look and see how this one went. So in the first period, Draisaitl kicked things off for the Oilers, getting his 25th goal of the season from Nurse and Ceci, 8 minutes and 48 seconds into that frame. Speaking of Cody Ceci, he'd get his first goal of the season. 9 minutes and 55 seconds remaining on the clock, assisted by Nurse and David, making it 2-0 in favor of the Oilers. DeBrincat would cut the deficit in half to 2-1, getting the first goal for the Red Wings. And that goal happened with 4 minutes and 21 seconds in that frame, assisted by his best friend, Patrick Kane, and Sider. So after 20 minutes of play, it was 2-1 in favor of Edmonton. In the second period, Bouchard would increase the lead to 3-1 for the Oilers, notching his 12th goal here from Nugent Hopkins and Connor McDavid. Foligno would get a power play goal for the Red Wings, getting his 10th of the season from Sprong and DeBrincat, and that goal happened with 9 minutes and 36 seconds to be exact. Patrick Kane would tie the game up with 5.5 minutes to go, his 8th of the season from Confort and David Perron. So after 40 minutes of play, we were all tied up at 3. In the third period, just 44 seconds into that frame, Dylan Holloway would give the Edmonton Oilers a 4-3 lead, notching his 3rd goal of the season from Bouchard and McDavid. Nugent Hopkins would increase the lead to 5-3, 3 minutes and 27 seconds to be exact, getting his 13th goal of the year from McDavid and Bouchard. Zach Hyman would double up the lead to 6-3, getting his 32nd goal of the season from Leon Draisaitl, and that goal happened with 7 minutes and 5 seconds to be exact. Evander Kane would increase the lead to 7-3, notching his 19th of the season from McDavid and Desharnais, and that goal happened with 6 minutes and 19 seconds remaining on the clock. With just under 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact, David Perron would get his 11th goal of the year from Sherrod and Fisher, and then Nugent Hopkins would add a very late goal, doubling up the lead yet again to 8-4, getting his 14th goal of the season, assisted by Connor McDavid. A little side note before I go on to the record, McDavid had 6 assists out of the 8 goals, which is unreal. All right, so with the victory, the Oilers are still sitting 3rd in that Pacific Division with a record of 31-17-1. And with the loss, the Red Wings are still holding on to that number 2 wildcard spot with a record of 27-19-6. All right, that takes care of my recap from Tuesday's action of the NHL. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. And until next time, take care.